The world today watches the United States with a mixture of hope and apprehension. For decades, American power has been the central organizing principle of international affairs, a reality so profound it was often taken for granted. Yet, as we navigate the complexities of 2025, the familiar landscape is changing. New powers are rising, global challenges are mounting, and questions about America's role have become more urgent than ever. Is the United States still running the world? The answer is not a simple yes or no. Instead, it lies in understanding the evolving nature of its influence, a force that remains formidable but is no longer absolute. This essay will explore the enduring pillars of American influence, the significant challenges that now test its foundations. We will examine the United States' role as a global security provider, its continued dominance in the economic sphere, its continued dominance in the technological sphere, and the pervasive soft power of its culture and ideas. At the same time, we must confront the valid criticisms and internal contradictions that diminish its authority on the world stage. The era of unquestioned American hegemony may be over, but its capacity to shape global outcomes remains unparalleled. The critical question for the future is not whether the United States has power, but how it chooses to wield it. Understanding this dynamic requires a look back at the world America helped build. Following the devastation of World War II, the United States spearheaded the creation of an international order based on rules, based on alliances, based on institutions. Organizations like the United Nations, the World Bank, and NATO were designed to prevent another global catastrophe and foster cooperation. This system, underwritten by American military and economic might, provided a framework for decades of relative peace and unprecedented prosperity for many. It is within this context that we assess America's standing amid new pressures. One of the most significant pillars of American global influence is its military power. The United States maintains a network of security alliances that spans the globe. NATO in Europe, treaties with Japan, South Korea, Australia. This framework provides a deterrent against aggression for many partners. When international crises erupt, the world looks to Washington for a response. The United States military's capacity for global power projection, sending soldiers, ships, aid, is unmatched by any other nation. This role as a global stabilizer remains a core reason for its continued relevance. This security architecture was born from the ashes of World War II and solidified during the Cold War. Alliances like NATO were created to counter the Soviet threat, binding the security of Western Europe to that of the United States. Even after the collapse of the Soviet Union, these structures endured and expanded. They have provided a foundation for stability, allowing economies to flourish and democracies to take root. For smaller nations in volatile neighborhoods, the guarantee of American support can be the difference between peace and war, preserving their sovereignty against larger, more aggressive neighbors. However, this role is not without its costs and controversies. The immense expense fuels debates about overextension. American military interventions, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, have had mixed results and generated opposition and unintended consequences. At times seen as unilateral assertions of power, this dual legacy complicates its image. Yet, amid rival pressures, allies still urge U.S. engagement as a necessary counterweight. Beyond its military might, the United States' influence is rooted in its economic and technological dynamism. From the software running our computers and smartphones to advancements in biotechnology and artificial intelligence, United States firms set the global standard. This leadership is fueled by world-class universities, entrepreneurial risk-taking, and deep capital markets. The dollar's reserve status prices global trade, oil, coffee, giving Washington structural financial power. Sanctions can cut countries and individuals from the dollar network, though rivals pursue alternatives and digital systems. American research, from mRNA vaccines to agricultural tech, delivers global public goods and legitimacy. But concerns over privacy, market power, and digital sovereignty drive stricter regulation, especially in Europe. Perhaps the most subtle yet pervasive form of American influence is its cultural power. American movies, music, and television are consumed worldwide, shaping tastes, trends, even vocabularies. Hollywood exports stories of individualism, ambition, and optimism, projecting soft power that attracts and persuades. Ideas of free speech, individual liberty, and consent of the governed have inspired movements and scholars worldwide. In a remote village, Angeli discovered American films on a shared phone, learned English online, won a scholarship, and chose to teach, a dream sparked by a story from half a world away. Yet fears of cultural imperialism spur protections. When America fails its own values, racial inequality, polarization, its moral credibility wanes. Perceived unilateralism, notably the 2003 Iraq invasion, eroded trust and encouraged self-interested behavior by others. A gap between ideals and realities, unrest, voting debates, inequality, weakens its moral authority. Global consumerism can feel like a monoculture, provoking resistance that limits soft power. The lone superpower era has yielded to a multipolar reality where leadership is built on consensus, not command. The path forward, from dominance to influence, from command to cooperation. Listen more, share more, lead by example. By reinvesting in alliances and institutions, strengthening democracy at home, and collaborating globally, the U.S. can earn leadership in the 21st century.